Yeah. Yeah. So for example, I would say, just even experiencing the conversation I had with you, Brian, I would also say that some value in there has to be humility and curiosity, because you guys are really good at asking questions. Even you asked me to start this, as generously as possible. We'll talk about anything you want, Todd.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what would help? And you said, well, I'm curious about this. Okay. Right. Like, so that value of curiosity. So I always say, adaptive leaders have to start by being learners. That's the biggest thing. You're not an expert. You're a learner. There's your first adaptive shift. I'm not an
Okay.
expert. I'm a learner. The second one is that you've got to be willing to face loss. I can't promise you that this is going to go well. What I promise you is that that we might have to let go of things that are painful for something better than that. So adaptive leadership always takes people through loss. And if you're the person who stands in front of you and wags a finger and says, don't worry, I will solve things for you, I'm the one who can solve it, you're either completely untrustworthy or you are delusional. You're a bad leader, because no one today can promise anything of certainty except for this can be worth it if you have this mission in front of you.
And leading through grief, perhaps even causing the grief. I'm thinking, and maybe I've got my story wrong, but I think it's in Good to Great, where he talks about, Collins talks about Scott Towles owned all the mills.
Yeah.
And he looked at it and said, this is not, and he sold all the mills, and definitely people probably with the last name Scott, if that's what we're like, what are you doing to us?
Yeah. How would you like to be a person who joined IBM because what you really loved were the machines? You loved working with the international business machine. They don't make any machines anymore.
Right.
They figured out that what was really important was that they were really good at helping international businesses. And what businesses needed used to be machines. And now what they need is strategy and consulting and whatnot. So there's no M in IBM anymore. That's loss. That's loss, right?
Absolutely.
And you figure out what you're going to let go so that you can hold on to what is the most important thing in order to fulfill your mission. And leaders have to continually take people through that process.